Today is the 8th of June, which means we're only 3 days away from the biggest sporting event in history happening here in North America, the US, Canada, and Mexico. And for many of us, it's the end of 4 years of waiting, 4 years of excitement, and there's a lot that we're looking forward to. The World Cup comes to the shores of North America this summer, and we can't wait for it to get started. It's a time like no other. I don't think any other event on earth can compete with the size, the scale, the amount of teams. They increased it to 48 teams this edition, and the cultural exchange that will be happening over the next 6 weeks or so. Today, me and the boys, we want to go through everything World Cup, including taking a look at some of the rosters, having a little discussion about some of the warm-up matches that we've been seeing because they've come in thick and fast. Go through some of our brackets that we've put together to see what we think and how far we think some of our favorites will go, and then finally just giving you a look at what performances we're expecting to see in the World Cup. So just to get it started, we want to take a look at some of the World Cup rosters. The World Cup rosters came out about 2 weeks ago unofficially, but on the 1st of June they become official, sent into FIFA, barring any injuries that will prevent the player from participating for the next 6 weeks. So the national team still have that option to switch in players up until 24 hours before their first game. So just wanted to get the take from SP on what are some of the surprise inclusions or exclusions that you're thinking from some of the World Cup rosters that you've seen so far.
I think more so England surprised me with the exclusion of Palmer and Foden and Trent as well. I think these are very good players. I think these players add certain things to your team. So these surprised me quite a lot. But knowing Tuchel, I think he came in with that sense of you have to prove yourself. It's not because you were there last time or you played the last 10 or 20 friendlies, you will have a spot there. So I think that's what surprised me more. I think for the other big teams, I don't think there were many exclusions that surprised me. Maybe for France, Camavinga, that one surprised me a bit. But I think most of the team, Brazil, I think, yeah, João, I think it's very harsh on João Pedro to leave him down because he's the ideal center forward for Brazil. He's someone you can play off of. He's someone who can score outside the box. Inside the box, he's an aerial threat. So I think Brazil missed out on that aspect of his game. I won't say to include Neymar, but if that was the case, for this Neymar, I think that was a wrong decision. But yeah, that did surprise me. Them going with Neymar didn't surprise me because I always knew, sometimes it goes beyond football and the manager. Sometimes it's politics involved, it's a government involved, so I always knew Neymar would have been, included. But aside from that, I can't speak to any inclusions or exclusions that were major for the big teams. No.
Yeah. Frank, I want to bring you up on that. And just like when you have a team where it's like, it's Brazil, it's England, it's France, Spain, where you have such a wealth of talent, where I saw this one video where France could have fielded 4 quality teams that would easily compete on any competition in the world. Where do you stand on selecting players that are maybe what you consider in form, or players that have versus players that have performed well for you, or players that have the quality but maybe not in the best of form, but they have that quality? Where do you stand on that as if you were one of these managers selecting the teams?
Well, with the international game, it's a bit trickier when it comes to like these tournaments because it comes around once every 4 years. So a manager that has already been in the job, say for one little spin of the ball, would already know what his score will look like. So that will, if we look at Argentina, which is my team, Scaloni did nothing different because his core is still intact, old, but intact. So he chose the players that he trusts to go around. Also, system-wise, you have to play according to what you want, your style. So for Tuchel, who's introducing a new style to England, the exclusions might have been more radical than people wanted them to be. Ancelotti, like SP pointed out, probably had to deal with a little more politics in the football because he's taking over Brazil and Neymar is alive. You cannot not tip Neymar because he's alive. Because I
Yeah.
think even if Neymar is not in form, he would have still gone to that tournament. Not saying that it was the best option, but I can understand like bro, you don't leave Neymar. I don't know
Out
what
of
people.
this squad, yeah.
I don't think people understand like the football quality of Neymar just because of all the injuries and the history. But I don't think that any coach in his right mind would have be picking a Brazil team to go to the World Cup and not
Yeah.
select Neymar. That's my opinion. I can be wrong. That's okay.
Yeah.
You understand? Um, but these coaches they have like very limited time in training sessions. So they're picking the teams based off on a lot of it's a merit, the tactical approach to the game, and who they trust. Uh, I'm going to touch on what SBC for England real quick. I do think Trent was hard done because there is no pure right back other than Reece James, who is a better right back than Trent, but Trent covers you in so many other areas on the field. I think that would have been like a good utility player if we needed to switch things up a little bit.
Mhm.
Palmer, I have no issues with, honestly, because Palmer plays in that hole. That will be a Harry Kane is currently in contention with Jude Bellingham and Morgan Rogers. So Palmer will just be on vacation, honestly, unless it's a
Yeah.
penalty
Dead
shootout.
weight.
And he missed 2 penalties out of 5 this season. So what are we really doing?
Yeah. And they kind of already brought Ivan Toney maybe for his
They
penalty
brought
expertise.
now this one I have a problem with, but hey, because
Yeah.
Ivan Toney
Yeah.
and no Calvert Lewin, I'm not saying
Yeah. And no Maguire,
no. Oh no, that's okay.
who has been proven in these big tournaments.
No,
So,
that
but it's
I was saying that. Sorry, the no Maguire thing. I think it's okay because he has cover at the centre back position. So why am I
yeah,
bringing an extra centre back just because it's Maguire?
yeah.
We're going to win a
So
World Cup. We're not going to collect participation medals.
yeah, yeah. I watched Tuchel's interview when he was announcing the squad, and he was talking about how he went through the process of selecting a squad, and I think it was very insightful. And I don't know if every coach thinks of this when they go into a tournament, but the way he described it is that he wants to select a squad that can win a game in many different ways. He wants to select a squad that's if they're in a transition kind of game and they have to sit back and transition, they have players who are transition specialists. You're thinking of guys like maybe Rashford on the counter. You're thinking of guys like even Ollie Watkins on the counter and what he does for Villa. If you have a game where it comes to set pieces, he's looking for guys for set pieces. If it's a game where you have to you're doing it for a low block, how do you disrupt a low block? If you're looking at a place, different ways of selecting. And some of his rationale I didn't quite understand because you're talking about, Jed Spence and bringing him because he can play both sides. I didn't really get it, but that's on him to kind of decide. But SP, when you saw these squads came out of just the strength of the squads, in terms of, don't think about the form they're in, don't think about the season they've had or what they wanted and win. When you looked at the squad and the names, which one struck you as the strongest?
Oh, France. Definitely
France.
France. Because I actually have the top 10 squads pulled up right now. I was just going through it
Okay.
before. And France has the most depth by far. It's not even close.
Yeah.
France's players, I think they've all had good seasons. Some have been champions, some have won the Champions League. And France has a plethora of players that they can call upon and they will get the job done. There are even some areas France can take off a player and put one and you will see no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Same quality. And I think that's where France is ahead of most of these squads, is because they're able to move one and put in someone else with the same quality. Not many squads have that ability to remove a player and add another one with that
Yeah.
same level of quality. So I think that's where France's depth is better than everyone else's. Yeah.
Yeah. The more I assess it, I look at France and I still see that on paper again that is, but then you have to think of two things. Is one, somehow among all these quality players, Adrian Rabiot still finds a way to make a starting 11. And I don't think, that I think that the position, and I know that's your guy in terms of Chouameni, but I don't think Chouameni is the best six in the world. So I think in that midfield engine of Rabiot, and I think today they also played Rabiot and Chouameni in that double pivot. I don't see that as the strongest double pivot in the world. And maybe they have subs, they have Kone that can come on, they have a bunch of guys that can rotate in there and play in that position. So yes, you have quality not dropping if you make subs. But when I look at teams like Portugal, for example, or even teams like England, with that, they might not have the quality of the bench, but the players who start in there, I think, are top quality. And depends on, maybe if they're having a bad game, they take them off. They might not have the firepower, and France can rotate a lot easier. But the more I assess the squads, the more I wonder about their real quality. And the second thing to consider is PSG for the last 2 seasons has mastered the art of using Galacticos. I look at France and I see it's a team of Galacticos. Can they make it work for another World Cup? We'll see. We know how. I saw this article come out about Dembele going up to Mbappe and telling him you have to put in more defensive effort, like he's used to at PSG, and we'll see how that works out for him. But that's my one concern about it. Fraka, we've seen a few warm-up matches. There've been so many over the last week or so, and even previously, we've seen some shock results, and I don't know if we could call it shock. I've seen Spain draw 1-1 with Iraq. We've seen France lose to the Ivory Coast. These warm-up matches before big tournaments, how much should we be playing into it? Is it a real insight into how the team will perform, or is it just the players getting together, getting some work done? How much should we read into these results?
Not much, honestly. For the last 2-3 World Cups, not much. There have been walkthroughs. Other teams played at half speed, especially the stronger nations. They played at a walking pace just to get the legs under them, get more seeing what the game plan gonna be and manage the game. Subs at 46 minutes, 52, 65, 75. Then it's already it's a premeditated thing. What I have noticed is that a lot of players have been going down injured.
Yeah.
In the last week or so, a lot going soft tissues again. Some freak accidents and some saying that this was being done on purpose. That's neither out there. I'm not going to think much, especially when it comes to teams like France and Spain. These teams go through their gears when it comes to tournament. When it comes to these type of tournaments, like we always gotta say, okay, we know, you have it, we know, you got it. These teams have gears. A lot of the other bigger nations, they don't have gears. They're either good or they're not good when it comes to these types of games. Even today, I was paying attention to the Netherlands, right? And the Netherlands, like I think I was telling someone like 2 days ago, the Netherlands have a good squad. They cannot score a goal. So if they have to progress through the tournament, it's going to be a lot of 1-0s or penalty shootouts and that kind of stuff.
And they've lost one of their better defenders to injury today too.
I guess how they won the game today. 2 penalties.
Yeah.
In a game where they had their starters on there for a very long period of time. Yeah. So I don't see where the creativity will come in for Netherlands when it comes to that. But I do think that we've
seen teams like Italy go for a successful World Cup, winning it in a similar fashion. So I guess it kind of goes back to what Tuchel was saying about there are different ways to win and different games. So if it's penalties, then we prepare for penalties. We have penalty takers and we have goalkeepers who are shot stoppers. We have, so just being ready for anything.
You're not wrong, but I don't think that in this format that's the safest way to go or the ideal way to approach the game, because you're gonna need to win games to put yourself in a position to win the next game. So we have this you all know how I feel about this best food place team.
Yeah.
There is no way that you can correct. One, you cannot correctly assess that
Yeah.
because not because this guy, the other team in this group has 4 points and I guess it's 3 points. That means it's a better team than me. How do you know that he's better than me? Because
Because
that's
of
what
the
they're going to
strength of the
use.
group.
This
Yeah.
exactly right. So you're going to need to win games in this World Cup, and then when it gets to the knockout phase, then you're gonna see who has the bigger hat.
Yeah, yeah. SP, they say winning is a habit in terms of you want to build momentum, especially in a tournament. You have looking at the World Cup, you have 3 group stage games, and you have a round of 32, you have a round of 16, a quarterfinal, semifinal, and a final. So you're looking at a max of 8 games to lift a tournament a trophy. So it's a game where you want to get into that winning habit. Now, if you look at Argentina before they went on to win the 2022 World Cup, their 5 warm-up games going into that, if you want to call them, is they beat Italy 3-0 in June. They beat Estonia 5-0 in June. They beat Honduras 3-0 in September. They beat Jamaica 3-0 in September. And then they beat the United Arab Emirates 5-0 in November before they started that Winter World Cup. So again, not huge names, but they're winning these games convincingly without conceding a goal. How much does momentum take into these games? Should teams be worried if things are not clicking now? Because you don't have, it's not like a league where you can say, okay, we'll start, and maybe in some people say for Real Madrid the league doesn't start until February. There is no February. It's 8 games you have to start off. How much momentum should they be expecting to get from these warm-up games?
Argentina lost the first game.
Yeah.
I think the coaches need to watch it on a wider scale, and I think that's what they're doing actually with these warm games. Because for one, I think what we haven't mentioned is they're playing in a summer tournament where it's extremely hot, so they have to get acclimatized. All right, so that's one thing. One reason I think why they're not going up to maybe 70, 80, 90%. So they're just trying to get used to the weather, probably the pitches, so that they know what they have to do. I think momentum is very important based on the nation, all right, and the group that you're in, because you find some teams have quote unquote easier groups than others. So I think if you're South Korea and you're in a group where you can maybe top or play second, all right? You want to go into that tournament with that momentum where you just hit the ground running, right? Because you know you can. For other teams, for the bigger nations where they know they are capable of placing first and second, they may start off a bit slow because the bigger nations have more players who've played more games throughout the season. And remember, these players have not any breaks. So you find they use the warm-up games to protect these players more or less to gain momentum. Because if you watch England took off most of their stars. I think in the 2-0 win against which team did they play?
They beat New Zealand. They beat New Zealand 1-0 over the weekend, and they played 1-11 for the first half and the next 11 for the second.
Right. So all these things have to come into play because these coaches have certain people in their team who are able to tell them if we place first or second, who we might play based on if they place first or second. So it's a mind game thing. So it's a thing that is very tactical. As much as it's tactical on the field, it's also tactical off the field as well. So whereas I think momentum is up there in the top 2 or 3 things that you need going into a tournament where if you play 8 games, you win. All right. I think it also has to do with a few other factors surrounding it. One of them has to do with the weather. The other has to do with how many games that like the majority of players and also your starters have played throughout the season. So let's say for like Kane has come off an extraordinary season.
Yeah.
You don't want Kane to lose his goal scoring form, but you know Kane is such an experienced player that Kane can hit the run running whenever he, gets into it.
Yeah.
So I think all these things have a part to play in the momentum. So I don't think every team needs it, but every team would want to have it going into such a short tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to ask you both this question just real quick before we move on to kind of going through our brackets is what do you think will have the bigger impact on this tournament? Will it be injuries, because we've seen a number of injuries and we've seen a number of complaints on the playing surfaces. Both training grounds have been scrutinized in Mexico, here in the States, and the fields, because a lot of these games playing on NFL stadiums where they had to bring in the grass and it's laid over turf and it's just not looking good. Or will it be the conditions? We know, Fraka, you living in Atlanta, we know the heat of a US summer. And all of these European teams coming here. We have 16 of them coming here. And yes, they might have been here for a little bit, a week now, some of them, but it's hard playing in that. And we saw the effect it had on the Club World Cup. The intensity was lower. What do we think will have a bigger impact? The injuries of just like soft tissue stuff, or just like freak injuries that we anticipate, or the heat? I kind of wanted to ask you to just talk about that for a couple of minutes.
I think it's gonna be the climate for sure. 'Cause, like I said, it's extremely hot in most of the cities. The European teams are not used to that type of playing atmosphere. The injuries, I think they have not been managed at the way that they used to be, because of the extent of the season. It's more games, added competitions. You have teams playing 2-3 games a week, and they go all the way to the end of April into May. Then you get a 1 week break. You have to join up with your national team, and then 2 weeks, and then you play a friendly and a friendly, and then you still have to go through training sessions. But the heat in the summer, that's going to be different. I think, because ballers going to be ballers. If you play 2 days on a pitch that's not to your liking, you adjust your playing style. You know, okay, why you can't take one touch. You need to take an extra touch just to make a proper pass. Things of that nature. Or your gather, your control have to be a little better. So by the time you do like 2-3 training sessions on the surface, then you'll be like, okay, this is what you can do that. But high intensity in the climate, that's different. Because if you go, say for instance, you have like a Germany coming up against like a Brazil, and then Germany the Germans not used to this type of heat, but the Brazilians can manage it a little better. They can use that to their advantage in a way that they can let the Germans tire themselves out and then pick their what's they call it, the moments. You pick your moments in a game where you want to go at somebody. So I think for me, I think it's the climate. The injuries will play a part, because now some of the players will overcompensate and they might get injured. Hopefully not. But I think, to me, I'm just going to go with the climate.
Yeah. SP, what say you? And even with, there's like people say like the European teams will not be used to it, but also with the Brazilian teams, a majority of their players, they play in Europe. So they've just spent a whole year in the cold, in the 4-season kind of climate, and now they come to it. So like, what do you think will have the bigger impact?
Yeah, so I just want to tell Fraka, when he's using his examples, not to use my team. Let my team rest for the World Cup.
He was the first one that came to
I
mind.
need my team focused, and I want people, people talking about them. So let them rest, right?
My bad, bro. My bad.
Based on what you said, Javel, I think definitely the climate would have a part to play. But I think we touched on it. I think the momentum during the tournament is more important than the momentum before the tournament.
Okay.
So I think the team that is able to get that momentum going in the group stages into the knockout phases, I think that team will go further or have more of an edge over the other teams that try to take it one game at a time and then try to be more tactical. Because as much as, it's just 8 games, you can't just go off of, okay, we have a team full of stars. No, these stars have to combine. These stars have to make things work. These stars have to attack, have to defend. Just like Javel said, Dembele allegedly told Mbappe,
right?
you have to defend.
Yeah, tell you about
gotta
stuff
get
in
out
you.
there.
They would have
So
sent Dembele home.
that momentum, when you see a man like Mbappe that's not used or known to falling back, defending, and he's your captain and he's leading line and he's chasing down balls, that gets the whole team up and that gives you momentum.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the momentum and the climate will be the big factors here.
Okay, understood. So I want to now just give the fellas opportunity for them to pull up their brackets and just kind of go through what it takes to win a World Cup. I'll let
Nothing
them
mad,
I'll let
bro.
them kind of go through it first, and then I'll go through mine as well. So let's start
Nothing
with
mad.
Raka and
Nothing mad,
his
bro.
mad selections.
Yeah, I went off of that. Honestly, I chose that because like I had so I used the bracket as my dark horse as the winner.
Okay.
So that's not necessarily what I think will happen, but when I chose the first and second, and I had to go through the test shoot this and choose, and then when I saw what came up in the round of 16, I was like, okay, what am I
Yeah.
doing? So
So
anybody I
what
saw,
I'll ask you to do is kind of go through the groups and then announce your group winners and second place and then go through the bracket from the round of 16, if that makes
okay,
sense.
so my in Group A I have Mexico and South Korea.
Uh-huh.
So the team I say is first and second. So just to
Yeah.
make it easier. So Group A I have Mexico and Korea. Group B I have Switzerland and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Group C I have Brazil, Morocco. Group D I have Turkey, Paraguay. Group E I have Germany and Ivory Coast. Group F I have Netherlands and Japan. Group G I have Belgium, Egypt. Group H Spain, Uruguay. Group I France, Senegal. Group J Argentina and Austria. Group K Portugal, Colombia. And then in the last group I have England and Ghana coming out as the top
Okay.
two. Um
So, and right, I guess I also have some questions about it. So right off the bat, in the round of in the round of 32 from your group, I'm not seeing any real upsets or anything that I would say is out of the ordinary. I think the upset starts in your round of 16 where you have Germany beating France.
yes,
What's the thinking behind that one?
because I have Germany beating France because I have been saying or not before we started doing this VOD. I would say I told some guys, just brainstorming about the World Cup. I think if Germany gets it right
Mhm.
with the core of players that they have right now, that they will be unbeatable. Leading into that, I think that is given that Germany is my dark horse to win the World Cup. I made this bracket so that premeditatively that Germany will make it to the final and win. So let's get that out of the way. So when I saw the round of 16 generate, I saw, oh shit, Germany already played France. So I just picked Germany to win. Not that I
Yeah.
think that Germany is a better team than France. So I just had Germany going
Okay.
all the way. So let's just, I guess we can put an asterisk next to that game.
Yeah. You
Uh,
also have in the quarterfinal you have Portugal beating Argentina.
yes. I also don't think that Argentina will make it to the quarterfinals. Huh?
You don't think Argentina makes it to the quarterfinal?
Nah, not with those legs, tired
Wow.
legs, not with those legs. But I do have Portugal beating Argentina. If Argentina is my squad, and
Mhm.
she knows that Argentina will not be able to keep up with any of these teams that have proper legs in midfield and a prolific goal scorer. Argentina, like Netherlands, will need the game to be as long as possible so that they can hope that the experience will carry them through the game.
Yeah.
I'm serious against it. That's my team. They do have it. If they have
Yeah.
it, good for them. But I don't see Argentina making it to the quarterfinals of this World Cup.
Hmm.
It's just that
That's
how the brackets were generated, they ended up making it that far.
yeah. That's interesting because I've heard a lot of people saying that Argentina might even have a better chance this World Cup just because of one, success, they know what it takes, and two, the fact that Messi has been here, he knows the climate, he knows the conditions. He's been here for about I think 2 years now in the
But
MLS.
see, it's
And that
really
might seem as an advantage
it's
to
not even
Argentina.
it's not even that. It's the squad selection one.
Mm-hmm.
The because what can you really expect from you expect Messi to carry you to the World Cup this year?
I, I think Messi still can. Honestly, I still think he can.
Okay, that's fine. I think he can win you some games,
Yeah,
but in the totality, given that okay, Argentina didn't go to the World Cup with their actual best defense. They still wanted Otamendi and Lisandro Martinez that only played what 10 games for Manu. They left the most informed defender at home, Marco Senesi. Their midfield has no creativity, so that means Messi will still be dropping into midfield
yeah,
to receive and make the plays while playing a 4-4-2. That's a lot
yeah,
of work for a 38-year-old man.
yeah.
It's a
Fair,
lot of
fair. And
so
then
I'm looking at all of that. You understand?
yeah,
So when it came to selecting Argentina, I cannot select me selecting Argentina over Portugal would just be me being biased.
yeah. Okay. So just for the fans listening to know is that Fraka has Germany Spain semi-final and England Portugal semi-final and a final of Germany versus Portugal, which he says Germany will win. Now I'll let SP come in and give us a little bit about his bracket because looking at it, I see not as many shocks, but there are some things that I look in there just off the bat here. I see in the round of 32, he has Croatia beating Colombia, which I think is a big shot with Modric on his probably his
That's
last legs.
that's
Um,
crazy.
and I
Croatia's a
also
retirement home.
and I also see he has in the quarterfinals England beating Brazil in the quarterfinals. Um, so
Wow.
so I just wanted to give SB a chance to kind of go through his bracket and just explain a few of these results to him and his reasoning.
Yeah, sure. I think I'll skip the whole group stage.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I basically had what Fraka had for the group stage for the first and second place.
yeah,
So for the round of 32, I have Germany beating South Africa, France beating Canada, Mexico beating Bosnia, Morocco beating Holland, Croatia beating Colombia, Spain beating Austria, Turkey beating Haiti, and Belgium beating Paraguay. That's on the left
yeah,
side. On the right side, I have Brazil beating Sweden, Senegal beating Cote d'Ivoire, Korea beating Ecuador, England beating Japan, Argentina beating Uruguay, Egypt beating USA, Switzerland beating New Zealand, and Portugal beating what's on KSA again? Sorry.
Saudi Arabia.
That's not your bad.
Sorry about
That's
which
another
is
big shout for me is you having Korea beating Ecuador.
right. So
It's
let me just go through the ones you spoke
Yeah,
about. The reason why I have Croatia beating Colombia, Croatia isn't a team of stars, but Croatia is a team who knows how to play like a team,
mm-hmm.
right? So they defend together, they attack together, they do everything together. So that's why I think as much as Colombia has more bigger names, Luis Diaz, I think they have Pacho, right? From
Yeah,
MPS. They have Pacho, they have, how many
Caicedo.
James.
with some good
I say the
quality. So they have a good few players that, household names. But I think Croatia as a team will be a bit too much for them. It's not again that I have Croatia being an overwhelming favorite. All right. It's just
Mhm.
that from what I've seen of Croatia, I think they have enough to beat Colombia. I think just as easily they can lose to Colombia, but I just have them having the edge over Colombia. So it's not an overwhelming favorite.
Okay,
You also spoke about I have England beating Brazil.
Brazil.
Do you know I have England beating Brazil? Um, because I don't think Ancelotti knows his best 11. And I don't think he will have enough time as a tournament goes on to pick his best 11. And I think that's very detrimental as a big nation like Brazil, because every big team has a spine. So they have a set of players for sure these players are guaranteed to be on the pitch, and it's them and maybe 5 more, or them and maybe 6 more.
Yeah.
I don't think Ancelotti knows these 5 or 6 players that are his prime. I don't think Ancelotti has a world-class center forward, which I think every team who intends to get to the semis or finals should have.
Yeah.
I don't think Brazil have that. I think they will need that because Brazil, of all the big nations, I think they're maybe 7th or 8th for the best midfield. They have a very slow midfield. Very, very, very joggy midfield. So I
Yeah.
think England have a bit more oomph to them. They have a bit more pace to them, and they have a bit more energy to them in the midfield. I think they're basically evenly matched at both ends, both the attack and the defense. But I think the midfield will be where that game is won. And I think England has a bit more in the midfield than they do. So that's why I have England over Brazil.
Okay. And then, continue.
Yeah. I also have Argentina over Portugal. Just like Croatia, I think Argentina is a very well-oiled team. As much as they have their stars, they're also a very good team. You can see that they play for each other. And I think that coming off of the last World Cup, they still have many of these players there. As much as they're a bit older, maybe they've switched teams, they don't play at the highest level in Europe anymore. But they know how to show up for their national team.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing for that Argentinian team. And I think that's why they will get past Portugal. I think Portugal has the best midfield. I think everybody would agree Portugal has the best midfield.
Agreed,
they're very well balanced. They have a creator, they have a conductor, and they have the number 8 in João Neves. So I think they have the most well balanced midfield. I think they also have a good defense, and I think they have some good attacking options. I don't think the attackers have worked very well for them in the games that I've seen. So that's why I think they will fall short against Argentina, because Argentina have some forwards who are very clinical. Martinez, Alvarez, even Messi can still show up for you and score some goals for you. So I think that's where Argentina will edge them in the goal scoring aspect of it. I have France versus Spain for the semi-final. I pick France because the last game France and Spain played, I think it ended 5-4 to Spain.
What is France?
5-4 or 5-3 to Spain, yeah.
5-3, I think.
Yeah, because I think France was down 5-2 at some point, and then
it was very tennis.
Yeah, the reason why I think I have France over Spain, it's because, like I said before, I think France has a lot of depth. I think they're able to remove one quality player and bring in someone else. You can move Michael Olise, bring in Cherki. You can remove let's say a Doué, and you can bring in this youngster Akliouche. You can bring on Bakula. So I think you can remove somebody like Mbappe. Let's say he gets injured, God forbid. You can bring on a target man like Thuram. Thuram has proven that he can score goals at the highest level. Yeah. So I think their squad depth is a bit better than Spain's. That's why, because I saw I watched a France game today, and Gusto, I actually think Gusto should start over Koundé because he has a lot more to offer. So that's how much quality France has, and France is able to bring on if they need to. On the other side, so we have a France-Argentina final. And I have France because, again, for the same reasons, I think France has a better attack holistically and also depth-wise than Argentina. I think that game might just go past the 90-minute mark. Yeah, and I think France will prove too much for the Argentina legs at the back. You have Romero, you have
Otamendi.
What we doing with that, bro? Is what is Argentina saying with Otamendi, Romero? in
No,
2026, bro.
so that's what I'm saying. I think Romero is a very rash defender. He's a very
Yeah.
wild defender, and he can cause a lot. And when he's put under pressure by these types of forwards with pace, Dembele, Mbappe, Doué, or Lise, these players that have pace, I think, yeah, they will. It won't be a good day for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I have France win it all, and that's why I have France win it all. Yeah.
Okay, fair,
Okay.
fair. I'll go through mine quickly before I ask you the questions at the end. Is just mine is I would say just there's a clear bias in mind for Ecuador, and the guys know how much I see Ecuador doing very good in this tournament. But my quarterfinals, I'll just go into that. Is I have Germany playing France, and I have France winning. Korea playing Morocco. I have Morocco winning. Colombia versus Spain. Spain winning. Haiti versus Belgium. Belgium winning. That's on the left side of the bracket.
That's your
And then I have
quarterfinals?
that's round of 16, sorry.
Oh boy, I was about to ask you how much you've been drinking yesterday.
And
Alright.
then round of 16 on the right side is Brazil, Ecuador. I have Ecuador winning that game because they top qualifying, and I think they're a better team. I saw Brazil on Saturday, not impressed at all with what they had to offer there. And I know that's a team that I don't think Gabriel played any minutes in there, but still, I didn't think they were very impressive. I have Cote d'Ivoire versus England. I have England going through. Argentina, USA, Argentina going through, and then Switzerland, Portugal winning that game. For my quarterfinals, it's Ecuador versus England. I have Ecuador beating England again because I'm not impressed by England. And not just this, but I think you see how Arsenal struggled with the mentality of World Cups. Yes, England has made a couple semi-finals, but I don't believe in England going far in a World Cup. I just think it's a mental barrier, and I think Ecuador will be the.
How about having drug tested?
Ecuador will be. You remember Morocco from last World Cup? I think Ecuador will be the new Morocco.
They will not
And I
be
think
the Morocco.
and then you have Croatia from the World Cup before that got all the way to. I think Ecuador is the team that will make that run.
Okay.
And then you have Argentina, Portugal. I do think Argentina will win that because there's quality. They don't have legs. There's quality, and I think that these guys are just more motivated to play for their superstar than Portugal is. And I think Messi still has the quality to score, to assist. I know people maybe don't watch him a lot in the MLS, but I see Messi playing. I see Messi still at the highest level. He's been, and they've cared for him very well. He's cared for himself with the extra training sessions. He's managed the minutes. He's going to come in fresh for this World Cup because his season only started in March. So he's fresh, and I think not many of the superstars can say that because Mbappe has been playing for the whole year. Jude was talking about it as well. He feels fresher because he had some injuries, but these guys have been training and in season for a longer time than Messi has been. I think that'll be something that'll make a difference. So then on the other side for my quarterfinal, I have France versus Morocco. I have France going through, and then Spain versus Belgium. I'm so tired of Belgium and this golden generation. I'm surprised they got like in my bracket they got far, but I wish I could have. I wish I could just have them knocking out in the group stage.
They bronze now.
Yeah, I'm just tired of this whole bronze gold generation that didn't achieve anything. And then my semifinals would just be France versus Spain. I think France goes through to the final, and then it's going to be Ecuador versus Argentina, and I think that's where the fairy tale will end because I also think that there are no fairy tales in the World Cup. There's no small team wins the World Cup. It's always, unfortunately, going to be a European giant or South American giant. You don't have a Porto winning it or Leicester. That will never happen. I don't think so. The World Cup is it's too big of an occasion for
Greece.
Yeah, you'll not have that at Greece in the Euros. It's too big of an occasion for luck to take place. And then the final will be France Argentina, and yeah, I think France quality. France they want to avenge the situation from 4 years ago, and they can last longer if it goes into extra time. I can see that game clearly going into extra time. They will last. They have the sub to come off. So that's what I see for my bracket. But again, that kind of leads me perfectly into the segue, and I want to ask the boys. The 4 questions is 1, who do we think will be the Golden Boot winner? 2, who do we think will be the best player at the World Cup? 3, who do we think our dark horse will be? Everybody should be saying Ecuador. And then 4, what traditionally big team do we think will have a shock early exit? So we can start with USB.
Yeah, no. So I was just going through the Ecuador squad there, just because you asked me.
Yeah, because no, because you told us. I want to know what JMFC.
Let me just see and see what you see. Just piece of paper, because I can guarantee you, I
Double said. Double
I
You,
said.
I don't
you
know.
sure he's not?
I only know about three players there, which are Pacho, Nkapie, and Estupinian. I don't think I know anybody
That's
You
else.
don't know
three
Caicedo?
defenders. Caicedo.
Moise Caicedo,
You
right.
don't know Kendry
So
Paez?
I don't know Kendry Paez,
That man
no.
signed for Chelsea.
I know
Enner Valencia.
Valencia. Right. I know Ena Valencia. I
You
think I
go see
know
things,
England.
man. You
No,
go see things.
hey, I
You go
I am somebody. Football is a thing. You
You
may
know
think
already.
not, and then it happens.
first making the name,
Well,
man. But anyways, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell
not
me
if you,
your
yeah.
four.
So for my golden boot, I have Kit Hurricane. I think he's the most informed striker at the World Cup. Not just striker, he's the most informed player at the World Cup because of his game, because how his job is deep, how he also, creates play, holds up, scores goals. I think he's the most informed striker at that World Cup. I expect him to come off with the golden boot because I expect England to go as far as the, quarter semi-final stage. I think the MVP will be Olise. I think because just watch today, he had a hat trick, and not just a hat trick. It just is the way he keeps things simple, and he knows when to take on. He knows when to pass. He knows when to make runs behind. He's a highly intelligent player, and I think that France squad suits him. The reason being, I think all eyes are on Dembele, Balado
Mbappe.
Dembele, Mbappe. So I think it takes a bit of pressure off of him and it allows him to play his own style of football and his game. And I think that will propel him to get to the MVP because I also think France will win the World Cup. My dark horse, as I said, I think we did a few sessions before that, I always had Morocco as my dark horse. Maybe now they're not a dark horse so much because they went to the final in the AFCON and they've been playing well since. They have a lot of players that are in form. But they're still my dark horse because I had them picked as my dark horse from a long time ago.
Yeah.
Even before the African Cup of Nations, I had them for my dark horse. And I think the shock exit will be Germany. The shock exit will be Germany.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, I watched their squad and they have a good squad on paper. They have quality players. Kimmich, they have Neuer in goal. You have the guy from Bayern, Pavlovic. You have Musiala. You have the Newcastle forward. You have Sane. So you have good players. But I think from what I've seen of Germany, Germany is not giving off Germany vibes because we know Germany. We know Germany to not be a team to come and play attractive football, except for the World Cup, which they won, which surprised me. We know Germany to be a unit. We know Germany to be a machine, a well-oiled machine in all aspects, from the keeper to the defense, midfield, forward. They have quality players everywhere. I don't think they have that this time around. So I think they will struggle a bit in this World Cup.
Okay. Fraka, what say you with your golden boot best player, dark horse, and big team with a shock exit?
So me and SP have two the same. I have Kane, golden boot, because for home, Kane is probably playing his best football of his career. And I just think that England making a deep enough run, and Kane is the focal point of that attack. He will get his goals. So that's my my golden boot prediction. Best player, I had Olise, honestly, because like SP said, it's one thing to be playing a game where everyone is focused on you. And it's another thing to be able to just spread your wings and express yourself. With everything being on Mbappe and Dembele, I think Olise, especially if he's played out on the right side rather than being played behind Mbappe, it will suit him. And I do think that they're going to be playing Dembele behind Mbappe so that they can rotate. And so we should allow Mbappe to float like he likes to do. So Olise will be more ball dominant, and I think he's going to have an outstanding campaign. And that's my pick for player of the tournament. My what was the other one?
Dark
So the
horse.
exit Dark Horse. So my Dark Horse is crazy because of all the reasons that SP said that they should go out is
Is who?
Germany.
Okay.
So contrary to what SP said, he's right, you know. But the reason why I picked Germany as a dark horse is that given that the collective talent that they've assembled over the last 3-4 years, if they get it right and they can play attractive football for 8 games and get it right, I think that Germany can go all the way. So that's why my bracket was so crazy.
No, but
Okay.
Fraka, but Germany is in the top 10 teams in the world. I don't
Yeah,
think
I
them as
don't think
that.
they
No,
qualify as a dark horse.
no,
You
no,
wouldn't
no,
qualify
no,
as a
no,
dark
no. The reason why, because we both of us know we're Italy in the top 20 and they haven't made 3 World Cups. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Okay. Point taken.
fair.
All right, Germany has not been that good they've been there because the European qualifiers are not as competitive as the rest of the qualifiers in the world. So they still
Yeah.
maintain that coefficient that allows them to still be in the top 10. When it comes to football, when was the last time that Germany has been competitive in Euros? We don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. And
right?
who
The
you
last
have with
time,
your shock exit?
Argentina.
Like, and by shock, fellas, I want like the way I see shock is two ways. It's either an early exit or a big loss exit. Like even when Brazil got to a semi-final and they lost 7-1, for me that's a shock exit, just the way it happened. So you're
Mhm.
Now,
telling me
okay,
Argentina is either going out early or Argentina is going out with a big defeat?
not a big defeat. I think that um we're not wrong in what you and SP said. There's not you said nothing wrong. But I'm going to be the devil's advocate and tell you the reason why that they go out, they don't make it to the quarters is because of the legs.
Mm.
Argentina picked a very old team in a very hot tournament. I think that the legs going to be trading because they're going to put a lot. They might not. They're going to put a lot on Messi with the players that are around him because he still needs to be the creator. And like you said, he'll need to pop up with a couple of goals here and there.
Yeah.
I do not see Messi being creative enough, or the goals he has to choose one. He cannot do both.
Yeah.
So my
I I,
so my
I
shock
fair.
exit is in Argentina at I think maybe the quarterfinals, depending on the
Interesting.
matchup.
I don't know. I look at them and I still see there are some players because you have
The
Simeone there who's an energizer bunny, and I think Simeone.
the players are okay. The
Mm,
players are okay. I just don't think that when it comes down to that game that you need somebody to step up, I don't think that someone will be able to step up
yeah.
and rise to the occasion that's not named
Okay.
Messi. Cause
Fair.
there are
I
some
think
good
Julian. I
players.
think Julian Alvarez can step up as he's shown, and I think he's rested a little bit now after the season, so he should be feeling good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it's a fair shout. I wouldn't be surprised either.
But
For me,
this
my
you're hold up before you go. You're giving me stick for my dark horse. SP chose a semi-finalist from the last World Cup for his dark horse.
yeah, but okay, yes, Morocco has been doing good, but Morocco is I don't think Morocco is
AFCON
top 10 in the
champions.
world.
Select
Elected champions. I would consider Morocco more of a dark horse in terms of if you think of dark horse than
if I
Germany.
have to pick a if I
Germany
have
has
to
won
pick
a World Cup. It's hard to a World Cup winner being
I
a
was
dark. But I understand what you're saying with the Italy point.
I was going based on like how they've been for the last 10 years. This is
Yeah,
like
yeah. Because
this is the
the
name.
Italy point is true. Because if Italy go on to qualify for the next one and they win it, I would consider that a dark horse run because nobody would expect Italy to. Now
When
I don't even expect them to qualify.
when Italy won the Euros in Epic 2020, that was that was equivalent to Greece winning it. Italy was trash.
Kind of, yeah, because they've been bad. Yeah, I get that. All right. Well, for me, my golden boot is Mbappe. I think Mbappe is just he finds the goals in the World Cup, man, and the players around him. I saw a clip of playing all these. I think he has 12 World Cup goals now. I saw him score. It's just like this guy is sharp. This guy is ready. I think He'll score some goals. And then for the third time, my best player of the tournament is also Olise. I added there. So it's like Olise all across the board. I think that boy is special. And there was a time that I thought maybe going to Bayern Munich was a little too big for him, but he proved me wrong, and he's been incredible. I don't have to announce it. Despite what I might be the only person in the world that thinks it, but I think Ecuador will make a World Cup semi-final.
You one slap in your forehead.
Ecuador, and if Ecuador makes a World Cup semi-final, all them man owe me about $100. So just wait on it, because the fellas will perform. And then my early exit of a big team is Brazil. I mean, I've just been very disappointed with what I've seen in Brazil, and I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, I think in my bracket, if I just have a quick look here, I have Brazil making it to a round of 16. And then getting beaten by Ecuador. But I wouldn't be surprised if Brazil make it to round of 32 against Japan and Japan beats them.
You have Brazil losing to Ecuador or Japan?
Ecuador topped qualifying for South America. You're not seeing the vision, fellas.
Why did Ecuador top the qualifying? Because
they were the best team in South America. They beat Brazil home and away. The fellas is top. It's you see how you talk about a team and other fellas as a team, and Germany. That's Ecuador right now. That's Ecuador, fellas. Like,
okay,
all right, you'll go see the vision. That's why
I will give you that. I'm not even going to argue.
It's not a whim. The fellas have been showing that they're progressing.
I look forward to it, because
so now I know I'm going to miss an Ecuador game. I'm going to put Ecuador on my calendar.
No, we program. But yeah, so that is the predictions for the World Cup. And that kind of brings us towards the end. I want to say to all the listeners again, thank you for the support. Thank you for listening and on our World Cup, I guess, preview episode. But we want to also just let you know that we will be doing longer episodes like this one at the end of every round. So our next one will be on the 22nd of June, where we'll talk about the midway through the group stage, and then we'll have one on the 29th where we talk about the entirety of the group stage and what the knockout rounds will look like. But we'll also be doing very short, maybe 12 to 15 minute episodes at almost every match day, where we'll be coming and talking about what we've seen in a very, very concise manner, for 12 or 15 minutes. So please look forward to these. But that kind of brings us to the end of our episode today. So let us know what you think in the comments of your dark horse, your golden boot winner, your shock big team exit, and your MVP. We look forward to it. Again, we appreciate the support, and thank you everyone for listening to another episode of The Elephant in the Room.